Let's see if there's still joy. If that's what it was, I am so hopeful that that is it. All right, let's get this thing out of here and start getting her taken apart. Woo, it's sitting low in this new seating position. Of course, having the seat move around isn't too helpful either, but we'll get it where we need to have it. Oh, buddy. I love it. That seems to have done it. Man, that is awesome. All right, well, today we're going to start getting some of the interior pieces out of here. Probably in the trunk first, because those are the easiest. And then we're going to start taking this interior out to make room for what we need to make room for, which is going to be entertaining. So, yahoo! Man, I'm glad that TPS is working though. God, that's nice. All right, back at it. All right, well, I don't know that I've ever had this much of the interior out in the back, but there's a fair bit of room for activities back here, for what it's worth. You can see Dad had a steel firewall put in, so it'd be legal to relocate the battery back here properly and put the fuel cell in here. It's isolated from the passenger compartment. There's my new actuator, which is still working pretty darn well. And so that's going all right. But we're going to have some tubes coming down here on each side. My guess is that battery is going to have to be relocated back here somewhere, is my guess, because that's right where that tube most likely going to land. We will have to see. The fuel tank obviously can move a little bit side to side depending on how we want to do it. Whatever it takes, it's going to be what it is. But you know, at a minimum, this will give him as much room as possible to get these back tubes. All this wood's going to have to come out. He's going to have to, you know, cut through the fiberglass, get down to the frame, weld everything up, close it up. It's going to be a fair bit of work. It ain't cheap, but I'm looking forward to it. This car needs it. It's faster than I expected it would be. So here's the pieces. Freddie Carello, I think that's his name, built all this stuff. He signed all of them, which is pretty cool. And so I wonder if he's still in business. I should look him up. Anyway, he's in Rhode Island. But yeah, so we're going to continue. Now, the fun part is basically I got to get that seat out, but it's not bolted in. But all of this framework has to come out. This rug has to come out. Most likely I have to take these studs out for the seats, the original seat. The seatbelt stuff can come out. This will come out. And then all of this lower stuff is going to come out. I'm hopeful that I can leave the top pieces and the headliner in. If it has to come out, it has to come out. I will figure out a way to put it back after the roll bar is in. But yeah, so now we're going to move on and unscrew some of this stuff. It's not too bad to take apart. You got some screws holding it all together, little brackets here and there, and it's really pretty good. So the guy did a really nice job. Hopefully I can keep some of it by the time we're done. But now we're going to start bagging and tagging stuff, because some of these fasteners I'm not going to be able to put back, like all of the, you know, the rocker panel trim screws and all that other stuff. We will have to see where we end up. Alright, well, let's see. Some light on this, see if this helps. Probably not. Alright, anyway, got all that out, down to the metal, so hopefully that'll be what he needs. I'm going to start taking some of this carpet up, which is unfortunately all jute padded and glued. So, man, I'm sorry to have to take all this stuff apart, but we're going to do it, and then we're going to figure out how to put it back so it's as clean as it can possibly be when we're done with it. But, yeah, I'm going to have to do some work in here afterwards, but we'll get the panels back as best we can and make it good. So, all right, onward. Carpet's coming up, but I got to get those seat belts out first, which ought to be entertaining because I think they're not captured knotted underneath, so I may end up not being able to do that without somebody under the car. So we'll try. All right. Well, about all I can say about that is I'm glad the OEMs do not use whatever glue it is that Freddie used on that carpet. Phew! That was down there. That was not coming up. But it's up. And it's getting late. So I think I'm going to call that a night. We're going to work on getting the studs for the seats out tomorrow, which are all double nutted on the frame, which is nice. So you could take the seat out without having to get under the car. That worked real well. One of the seat belts was done like that, one wasn't, but I got it out. And then maybe tomorrow we will get the 2x4s cut up and the seat set where I want it, so we can give as much leeway as possible to getting this thing in with the roll bar where it needs to be and all the other stuff as happy as it can be. And hopefully at some point we can put some of all this stuff back with a little bit of modifications. But going well. Disassembly is coming along, so I'll keep carrying on. All right. Got the seat mounted where it's supposed to go, a little carpentry. Certainly not permanent, but that's where I need it. I've got decent clearance with my helmet on to the ceiling. And I think the way this is going to work out is the seat pan, is high enough off of the drive shaft hump where I think that if he runs like two little hoops across, come up off the frame on each side over here and then here over to the other side, the seat will be able to be mounted directly to a couple of hoops that tie into the frame, which is going to be great rather than having it here. And that will also give him seatbelt options. It will give, that will be ideal, I think, for everything, for the lap belts and the crotch strap. The brackets go away, whatever, but I needed him to mount it so where I could get it where I needed it. I think that is going to be a good spot. Got decent clearance up top. Like I said, even with my helmet on, I don't hit the ceiling anymore. Still basically see over the nose. Not quite as good as it used to be, but it's good enough to drive. What I'll probably have him do is duplicate everything on this side. I may end up having to get him another seat if he has to weld some tabs or whatever to hold that seat to the roll bar. We'll have to do that. I'll do that at the time because I'll basically just want it duplicated for the passenger. And I think we're going to be in good shape. I'm pretty happy with how this is starting to look and how it feels when you're sitting in it. The steering wheel angle is not great because of the column angle. That's as far as it turns down. But it's good enough. It'll be good enough. Who knows? I may end up going with a detachable steering wheel at some point, but that's definitely going to work for now. And I think we're in pretty good shape here. There's not too much more to do. I don't want to pull the fuel system out of it yet because I still like being able to move it around a little bit. We got a car show at work coming up in a couple of weeks. I want to bring this pile down there and show where it's going. And once we get that done, I'm just waiting on the transmission. I need to give Gearstar a call, see how they're doing, because it's about when it ought to be in. I'm looking forward to that. Not like I need it at this point, But it'd be nice to have it in here for when the shop makes the new drive shaft, new aluminum drive shaft for it, to actually have the transmission for that. And then what I've been thinking is I want them to do 2 sets of shocks. One for racing and regular driving around, and then another for trailer towing. So similar shocks may not need to, the trailer towing ones may not need to be fully adjustable, but I want them probably going to need a little bit heavier springs because we're going to have a couple 100 pounds of tongue weight on the back here when the trailer's on it. That would help. And those are going to be just a couple of bolts, I would expect, which will be nice. I can reach the shifter. Pretty much do whatever I need to do so far with this setup. I like it. I am pretty happy with how this is going. Finally, my back-ordered oil filter came in. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is see if this thing will start. It's been pretty good lately. Give her a rip.
Pull these panels out as well, that they look pretty well tucked in there, because he's going to have to come down into this area with the bar, I think, somehow, and we'll figure that out. But that gives him some room to work. This, like I said, this thing pinches in so hard, it's going to be real interesting to see what he does. I'm really hoping we can keep the door card. If anything else, I'll have to redo this. Get under there and unshape this, save the carpet or the tweed as best I can, and may have to redo that around the door bars, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Now we're just going to let her warm up a little bit and get the oil changed. Nothing too terribly special under here for the oil change. Got some pretty good clearance. Just got to be careful with the exhaust. 9/16 action. Guess I shouldn't have used the impact wrench last time. She's a little blacker. She could use it. Not too bad, but she can use it. We'll let that drain for a little bit, and we'll pop the old filter off of her. Alright, let's see if we can get the filter off with my broken strap wrench. Oh, nice. I didn't overdo that one, which is pleasant. Ow. It's kind of hot. Kind of hot. More than kind of hot. It's really hot. Well, we warmed it up good. Alright, everything looks good up there. Alright, we'll let it rain. Alright, let's put this back. Ow, fudge, that hurt. Don't touch the header with your face, you dummy. Only a nice teardrop scar. I'll get in trouble for it at some point. Low. Click. Okay, now we'll go get the filter and sauce it up. Slap her in. Alright. Now, sometimes I fill my filters, sometimes I don't. Because I know you're filling it. The easy way to fill it is through the wrong side. But this one holds over a quart, so kind of want to make sure it's got some good fluid in there. There she goes. All right, hard part's done. Let's get her on top, get her down, and fill her up.
All right, well, I believe this is a 6-ish quart system. So we're gonna start with 5. Just fire it up, let it circulate a little bit, and then we'll check it. Going with the old Amsoil Z-Rod, because this is a flat tappet motor. Try to keep it as well lubricated as possible, and I'm gonna run 1030 in it. Couldn't really find what the oil spec for this 1995 spec weirdo Mark V engine is. So I'll go probably a little heavier than I need to, in case she ever sees some excessive heat. We'll have some viscosity to keep the metal parts from coming into contact. Hopefully. All right. Don't slop it around too much. Chevy Thunder. Alright, so now we're going to go start her up, make sure we got oil pressure, and let it run for a minute. And it's a trend. Let her sit for a minute, check the oil level. Alright, so we checked the level, and we are right at the adequate mark. So we're going to put another quart in it. And check it again. So I think, given that I put nearly a full quart in that filter, and it's still down a little below the adequate quart mark, this is going to end up being about an 8-quart system. Which is more than I expected. It's got a very deep pan on it though. I'm considering at some point changing to a shallower oil pan because it's about the lowest point on the car in the grand scheme of things hitting stuff. Which is nice to know though that I've got this much oil in it already, so if I do go with a shallower pan that's only maybe 7 quarts or whatever, I'm not going to be too concerned about oil starvation. We'll put the rest of that in there. It wasn't in the filter. Call that good. All right. Forget the plug. Little dipstick. That looks to be pretty close. See? Adequate. Alright. Which, honestly, given that it's got 8 quarts in it, probably true. Perfect. Perfect. 8 quarts. But that's alright. That'll work. Good enough. Alright, so I think that's going to do it for today's video. Light off. So I was just cleaning up the oil and putting it away, and I noticed I had 5 quarts left in that case. So either Amsoil is sending baker's dozen in their cases now, or I'm an idiot and just can't count, and this is actually a 7-quart system, which I'm going to lean highly towards that likelihood. Anyway, 7 quarts, still good. Still could lose one and I wouldn't be too worried about it. So, there you go. So, we're getting there. We got the seat mounted, temporarily obviously, just for location. It's pretty comfortable, feels good sitting in it. And TPS sensor's still working. Everything's charging. Just did an oil change, got that all done. The next thing I'm going to have to do is going to be pull the radiator again so I can change the damper. And now I'm still just waiting on my transmission and my distributor. And yeah, then the money spending will end, right? Sure it will. Okay, anyway, well, I appreciate you all watching. Can't wait to get this thing back on the track. That'll be sometime next year, I'm thinking, with the ladder bars and the roll cage work. It's going to happen sometime after the first of the year, I think, once the schedule at the shop frees up a little bit. But, like I said, it's going good. So, hope you're all having a good day. Happy Thanksgiving.